don't like to get left behind, hey?
No, it's one of the things you hate the most.
I have
Missing out on something.
Dude, I live in a perpetual state of FOMO, fear of missing out. So when I see that people are doing something and I hear that people are talking about something, I'm always like,
No, not without me. I want to know what's happening.
What's happening here? And I'd say in the past like 10 days, like 14 days, on my WhatsApp statuses, because everyone whose numbers I have, they put up their WhatsApp statuses.
Right.
3 people have inquired about camel milk.
Camel milk.
The first one I was like, okay, it's some sort of craze, whatever. It'll get to me when it gets to me.
Yeah, because there's always some kind of craze going around.
And then the second one I was like,
and then you start putting together who are these people that are into camel milk?
Exactly. And then this is why, because a friend of mine, Daisy, I like his very good friends with her son,
Right.
Riro, my boy Riro.
Yeah, Riro.
Riro, everybody knows Riro, my boy Riro. Now, Daisy posted on her WhatsApp status like, hey, does anybody know where to get camel milk in South Africa?
You were like, camel milk?
I said, something is up and I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Camel milk as a treatment.
Now, some parents say they're seeing marked changes in their autistic child due to a tailored diet and nutrition program.
Children with autism.
Camel milk helped their child with autism.
Using camel milk to treat children with autism.
Camel milk and how beneficial it was for all kinds of illnesses, Crohn's disease, diabetes, autism.
Now, I must say that a good 8 of my friends have children who are living with autism, right? So this is a conversation that's always happening amongst us. Oh, what is it? Or, what does it do? How do you help it? What is anecdotal? What is scientific and all of that? But this was the first time when I spoke to Daisy where she had been reading up that apparently camel milk has got something in it.
And lots of benefits.
Lots of benefits towards, helping kids with autism. And I was just like, I've never heard of this.
Yeah, but this is the thing, I don't want to say, but it sounds a little bit like
a TikTok thing.
Yeah.
It's
is it scientific?
This is why we went on a deep dive and we researched, and our producer Ryan has literally read every medical journal that has written an article about this. And we landed up at a certain lady, Christina Adams, right? Christina Adams, she's all the way in the US, and we have been fortunate enough to get hold of her. She is currently waiting to speak to us. She is in the US of A. Christina, good morning. Welcome to Anele and the Club.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be with you both, you and Frankie. Thanks for having me.
Tell me, where in the US are you right now? I want to know what time it is.
It is 1 a.m. and I'm in the beautiful hills of Appalachian Mountains in Tennessee. Wow. That's the American South.
Isn't Tennessee where Taylor Swift is from, Frankie?
Very close there, yes. Nashville, that's
so
it, yeah.
Already you've got Frankie's attention because you breathe the same air that Taylor Swift breathes, okay? Christina, tell me about this. I mean, every bit of research when it comes to camel milk, it leads back to you. I don't want to call you the genesis of, this camel milk phenomenon, but why does all the research point back to you?
Well, Anele, I actually, camel milk has been around for thousands of years and people have used it as a healing substance. But I kind of am the genesis in a way of the camel milk autism movement. And this happened because my son was diagnosed with autism. I had to drop everything in my life, work so hard to get him better. And I was already a professional writer, and so I got him better. I wrote a book about that called A Real Boy, but then I met a camel and I had the idea the milk would help, and I had to fly it in from Bedouins in the desert in the Middle East, and I gave it to him and he got incredibly better overnight.
Now, this is the one question I want to ask, because all of the the anecdotal stories that I've read about this, it's so immediate, the effects that it takes it takes on the kids, and it works immediately. Weren't you skeptical? Because for me, something that works overnight, regardless of what it is, you
get skeptical.
Yeah, there's a question mark around it.
Well, the thing with me is I'd already worked at the Pentagon and I'd been a journalist. And so I was very meticulous on these things. So when I turned to science, my son had already had a lot of years of doctor treatment. So I had a lot of records on him. And I already knew you can't go in it biased. You have to have unbiased eyes. But basically, it was so incredible. See, I'd already seen like what medicines did to him, what food did to him. So it even exceeded my expectations. And now that thousands and thousands of children around the world have been using it for years now, some of the children also experience those really rapid results. And some of them it takes longer, or some of them it doesn't work, but it helps so many.
I want to ask with your son, because you say he got better. What does that mean? So speak to us a little bit about your son and what the effects were that you saw.
Definitely. So my son, he was diagnosed with autism at almost 3, and he was doing well at first, and then he regressed, which you'll sometimes see in autistic children. That means they lose their skills, they go backwards. That's a bad sign. So as soon as I found out he has autism, I did everything. I changed his diet. I got doctors. I got him a lot of therapy, and he passed a kindergarten readiness test undetected for autism by age 5. But he still had issues. And usually cow dairy would make him hand flap and toe walk and be out of it, so to speak. And things you see in autistic kids. So removing cow dairy was the big thing for him, plus other diet things and some medicines and some therapy. It takes a lot. But the camel milk, when I gave it to him, it actually was so quick that it was shocking even to me. But then I went and did more research. I started getting involved in camels. I became camel crazy, as I call the title of my book. And believe me, I never saw this coming. So now I've been doing this for many years, and I hear from thousands of people. So I see kind of how it works, and now there is some science behind it.
Okay, so then on the day you decide we're gonna go with camel milk, where you in America, is camel milk readily available? You know, how do you go about it? Because I read up that you also started importing it as well. But then what does U.S. Customs say when all of a sudden there's now 1,000 liters of camel milk being imported into the country every month, as opposed to 0?
Well, back then I was kind of the first to do it. So I was just so lucky that I managed to get a hold of this frozen bottles of milk in a suitcase that flew for, 16 hours. And it was great. And I had a doctor's letter, and the airport doctor was helping me get it in. But then a couple years later, I found out American Amish people, the old fashioned people that wear the suspenders and the hats, they started milking camels. So I got that milk, and it worked the same way. And that's when I wrote the first article called Got Camel Milk that went viral and kicked off the industry, because I knew that I could now get American camel milk, and everybody wasn't going to flood the gates like you're talking about.
So who termed it the white gold of the desert? Was it because of you?
That existed before me, but it is a great phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a great phrase.
It is a really amazing substance, yes.
Besides now, obviously, you're talking specifically about how it affected your child. Are there other benefits to camel milk?
There are. And like I said, the nomadic people and the people of the deserts that use it in the mountains, they've known for centuries, and they've used it as a natural medicine. However, autism, used to be rare, but now it's really, really increasing.
Exactly.
In South Africa,
a lot. In South Africa, a lot.
This is a global thing, because I travel all over the world. I lecture in different places, and I meet camels and families and scientists, and I see it everywhere. So basically, the thing is that the milk is now known as, autism is like it's always been around, but it's sort of a newer condition in how prevalent it is. And that is a real increase. So now I was the person kind of had an idea about that. And then definitely I just kept putting it out there because I'm a writer. So I put it out, and people are just really catching up all the time. And so I'm just really pleased. And it's also gut disorders, skin conditions, diabetes type 1 and 2. We have research out of India and other countries for this. And so anyway, I definitely talk about it in my book, Camel Crazy. I have a list of the conditions, suggested servings amount. And I base my work not only on lore, but also published science, and then things that people tell me. And I make a distinction between the two. So I put it all in there.
Before we say goodbye to you, I just want you to, state this, right? The thing about, autism and kids living with autism and the parents, who are constantly looking for solutions and all of that, is that there are a lot of things that will come at you. There are a lot of solutions. There are a lot of, crazy ideas that people will have, right? And parents will try all of it. But Cindy, you said this yesterday, is that if it's not harmful, then it's worth a try, right?
Like, what is the harm in trying it? I mean, it's not like it's not toxic. It's milk. It's literally milk. So why not give it a bash? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
So Christina, you're not saying it's going to solve it. You're not saying it's going to cure your child of all, autism and all symptoms of it. But you yourself yourself with your child personally, you said that you saw that it did help and it did have therapeutic effects around it.
It did for years and years. Okay. And so I have published on that. And now I get videos, pictures, and talk to families from around the world. And I never use the word cure for autism. All we want to do is help the cool, amazing people with autism live the life they want to live. We don't want to change them. We want to let them be who they wish to be.
Christina Adams, lovely talking to you. If people want to find you, what must they do? Can I just search you on Instagram and see you in Tennessee, taking a walk, taking a stroll? How do we find you on the internet?
Well, you might see me in Mongolia, where I just came back, and all kinds of places. So yes, I'm at Christina Adams Author on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm also Christina Think on Twitter. And then, of course, if you want to get camel crazy, if you can in South Africa, you can probably find it somewhere. And then I have a Facebook page about that too, Camel Crazy. So I look forward to you guys trying it, and I hope everything works out for all of you.
How interesting.
Thank you so much, Christina. Yeah. You see, my curiosity has been curbed a little bit.
Yes.
Now. Just a little bit. 011-8838-947. And, Christina said it. Kids living with autism, it's on the rise. I think we never had the stats, back in the 80s and 90s. Weren't as open about it. And it also was like scam. Like,
but also didn't understand
we didn't understand it, and you didn't understand your children. You're like, what's happening with my child? And meanwhile, these are things that can be quickly identified. If you're looking out for it, you can quickly see it. And that's the thing. I think many parents don't pick up that their child has got autism because it's not something that you're looking out for. And you're taking them to occupational therapy. You're doing everything else, and meanwhile, this is it, right? So I just want to walk the journey with you parents, and your children. How did you find out? What was the symptoms? What was the one thing that you said, no, man, something is up here?
And have you tried camel milk?
Have you tried camel milk? This is the one thing I want to know.
Have you seen an effect in your child? That's very interesting.
Give us a call. Send us a voice note as well. 084 0000 947. It's Sabrina Carpenter with Nonsense. So one of the questions coming through about giving your child camel milk to curb the effects of autism is, how do you serve it to them? Do you give it to them hot? Do you give it to them cold?
I have no clue how this works.
When I read a lot about it last night,
right.
I read that once you heat it past a certain degrees, right, then it loses all the effects of it. So it is preferred that you give it to your child cold.
Okay.
Like it's cold or at room temperature. But once you heat it too much, then
it loses some of the nutrients.
It loses the nutrients and the vitamins. And I also read that it's got a lot of vitamin C and a lot of iron.
Okay. Well, I do know, so I don't know much about autism and camel milk, but I do know that we drink cow milk, and I do know that cow's milk is not necessarily the best for us. I know that they always say like goat milk and like other milk that you get is actually better.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
Okay. Listen, coming up, your chance to win yourself 10,000 Rand towards a stay with VIA on 947. Download the VIA app, register using the referral code 947. You take a screenshot, then you WhatsApp it to us on 0614947947. And we could call you, T's and C's and more on 947.co.za. Tembu, good morning. Welcome to Anele in the club.
Morning, Anele.
How are you?
Morning.
We're good. Things fine on your side?
I'm cool, thank you.
Great. So your child is 10 years old, eh?
Yes, she is.
And she's living with autism?
Yes, she is.
Okay, so one thing I want to ask is, what happened for you to realize that, no, man, my child is different, and let me zone in on this?
I actually sensed that she wasn't developing as quick as the other kids. Yes, I know kids are not supposed to be compared. I picked up her speech was a little bit delayed. And then again, she used to do funny things, man, like climbing on walls and letting herself fall down and not hurting herself. And she, even with how she used to interact with other kids, she didn't want so much to be around them. She got so agitated around them. So I thought, no, man, something must be wrong with this child. Then I took her for tests, and they totally told me that she wasn't autistic, but then she was delayed. But I thought, no, something must be wrong. Then I read a book, a friend of mine, which she wrote, and I read, and I thought, man, some of the things that he is mentioning here are similar to how my child has been behaving. And then in the book, he mentioned that he also went to some of the workshops and seminars to find more about autism. And then he realized that apparently the diet is important. And one of the things that he thought that they should introduce to the child is camel milk. And I thought, hey, let me also try this. So I did the same, and I promise you it's been only 6 months that she's been taking it. There's a huge improvement in her behavior. She now can relate to other kids properly. She has slowed down also on her because she was always anxious, you know.
Yeah.
So her anxiety has reduced a lot. And even at school, her teachers are impressed with how now all of a sudden she can start to communicate. And she has chosen a language, which is English, which is good. That makes it easy for her to communicate. And then even her speech therapist is quite impressed with her because I've been taking her to a speech therapist ever since she was 4. So there is now a huge development. Shame, I remember that woman used to be so frustrated with her sometimes because she would just get out of a lesson and she'd be like, today we didn't do anything. She just didn't want to cooperate because really her attention span was very, very limited. But now if she can sit for the whole duration of the lessons at school, and even her, she is very, very excited of being at school now, unlike previously where she didn't want to go. She totally refused to go to school.
That's amazing.
Tembo, I've got 2 questions for you. One is, where are you getting your camel milk from? Because it's not something that's as readily available everywhere. And a lot of the tweets and the SMS that are coming in, parents want to know, how do you serve it? I assume, because I read up on it a lot, that you can't serve it warm. It has to be at a certain temperature.
No. Yes, because apparently it kills all of the nutrients once it's too warm. If you do, then you make sure that it is room temperature. But then normally she actually prefers it cold because at first I thought she was not going to like it because it's totally different from the normal milk.
It's saltier, I hear. It's a lot saltier. So how often are you giving it to her?
Every day. Every day.
1 cup a day or 3 times a day?
Anytime she wants to have milk, I give it to her.
And then where are you getting it from?
I'm getting it from a health shop in Port Elizabeth.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's called Gift of Health. Yes.
Okay, Tembu, fascinating. These are the stories I want. You see now, because it's like there's no science. You know what I'm saying? But if you're seeing improvements in your child when they are drinking this, do you care about science?
No.
Do you? It's Gwen Stefani with Akon, the Sweet Escaper 947. Let me tell you something about Anele and the club. If there's something going on, we're going to make sure that you have got all the information on it. You will never get left behind if you tune into this year's show.
This is fascinating.
And what's fascinating us today in terms of information and, testimonials from parents across the country is camel milk. Apparently, camel milk has got something inside it that is therapeutic for kids who are living with autism.
And I when you told me about this yesterday, I was, I'm a little skeptical.
You're
I'm
like,
show me the science, show me I don't believe. But a lot of people are saying that it's helped their children.
I found out my son was autistic when he still didn't have speech by the age of 3 years old.
I had always suspected that my son has autism. However, when I took him to the specialist, they told me that he has got ADHD. And then I was told this year at the age of 8 that not only does he have autism, he also has Tourette's syndrome and Duchenne muscular dystrophy. So it was a big blow on me. I'm still trying to, get around that.
Thank you so much, Anele, for talking about this. We haven't tried camel milk. I'm still looking for camels. But we found out because I could literally tell that there was something wrong, and everyone kept on telling me he's a boy and boys take longer. But all I can say is a mother's instinct is the most precious thing ever, and follow it.
Sure. Farzana, you in Lenasia. Good morning. Welcome to Anele and the club.
Good morning, Anele. Nice to be on you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. So have you tried camel milk?
Yes, I have tried camel milk. And camel milk, being Muslim by faith, it has been mentioned in the good book, the Quran, and also the Bible, from our scriptures as medicinal, like alternative medicine. It has great medicinal properties. And my son is 6.5 years of age. He has quadriplegic cerebral palsy and profound deafness, so unable to walk, talk, and hear. And the physical
Farzana,
yes,
is your radio on, madam?
No.
Okay, that's better now.
We're hearing you twice.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it again. So he's got cerebral palsy. What else does he have?
And profound deafness.
Okay. So how did you hear about camel milk then?
I came across it obviously from our holy scriptures, but I couldn't find some or source some. And being in healthcare industry on alternative medicine, one of my customers mentioned it to me, which is Peri Eco Health, and they decided to send me some. And over a 6-week period, I've found it miraculous results in it. So my son's agility, his bone density, his muscles, and his core seems to be very weak. And now he's using the curtains as a jungle gym. He swings on them. He sometimes pulls them off the line, and he's moving much faster. He's tried to hang onto a chair or a table or the bed and stand up straight for a longer period of time. And he's taking the attempt with the walker to also walk with a whole lot of other alternative medicine, and a lot of physical activity involved, massaging and stuff like that. So, yeah, firm believer, affirmative in it. I give it to him more than once a day. And for adults, it's also absolutely wonderful, for your digestive and your IBS issues as well.
I also read that, there's some reports across the globe where it helps out with eczema.
Oh.
Yeah, because eczema is inflammation, right, of your skin. So apparently, and you
it's
can't
anti-inflammatory.
Exactly. There we go. Farzana, much love to your son. What's your son's name? Mohammed
Taufik.
Mohammed Taufik. Much love from 947 to you and your family. And really, we hope that all you see is, improvement day in, day out in your son's condition.
Thank you.
Cheers, Farzana.
Cheers.
So another question is,
where do we get camel's milk? Who's got camels that they're milking?
Pierre van Niekerk, good morning. Welcome to Anele in the Club. You're from Eco Health, the only camel milk supplier in South Africa, I believe. Talk to us. How do we get hold of it?
How do you get what? Good morning to you.
Morning, Pierre.
Ask the question again.
How do you get hold of the camel milk?
Ma'am, there's a few sexy camels every morning here at my, and being a man, you need to do the job thoroughly.
So Pierre, you've got camels, and then how do you distribute it? You milk it and then you distribute it?
No, sir. The camels is been milked in the Kalahari.
Okay.
In Ascom.
Okay.
Oh, is it that farm that's owned by a guy called Hans?
That's the guy called Hans.
Yeah, he used to be a banker, and now he runs a camel farm in the Kalahari.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But the environment, the healthy environment is critically important to what is produced within the camels and their milk and the colostrum and whatever is happening. Then it's been sent to Cape Town, and it's I think 2 labs before it's been powdered, and with a proper food certificate, it's sent up to Pretoria to us.
Okay.
And you distribute it.
And how does it come? Does it come in the liquid form, in a powder form?
In a powder form, ma'am. In a powder form, yeah.
So almost like baby formula.
Yes, it's like milk powder.
Okay.
And it's very sweet. It tastes like ideal milk.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so I just go to ecohealth.co.za if I want to get hold of it.
Yeah. On the online shop, Pierre at EcoHealth, if I may mention my name.
Go for it, Pierre at ecohealth.co.za.
That's right, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pierre van Niekerk. You have been a great deal of help. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate.
Okay, so if you've still got any other questions around this is as much as we can do for you here.
I want to try this. And it sounds like there are properties.
Yeah, that could help.
Yeah.
084 0000947. That's our WhatsApp line. Ryan is going to be manning that phone all day,
yeah,
as
I'm sure.
I can tell, and then he'll let you know. But as you can see, Pierre at ecohealth.co.za, he's the guy with the milk. We're out.
Anele and the Club
on 947.